I thought Nigel Winterburn didn't get the recognition he merited. He was such a good defender. He could move up the field, and I think he didn't get the recognition he deserved.
Ian Wright, just because absolute legend, always score a goal in the right place at the right time. My first ever game, Arsenal-Everton 2-0, one of the most memorable goals I've ever seen. When he lobbed over Southall, and Southall didn't even realise it went in.
A magic goal from Ian Wright!
My favourite player would probably be David Platt. It's the earliest memory I've got of any Arsenal player, and I was quite young, about 9 years old. I just remember him. He was quite old, about 33, but he was still brilliant.
I think Patrick Vieira was a fabulous player for Arsenal for many reasons. A Frenchman, a black man and a captain of Arsenal, and a fine player, probably one of the best in the world in his position over a long period of time, is something I think Arsenal can be proud of as well.
Dennis Bergkamp, I mean, mustn't forget what a genius he was. I remember a goal he got against Barnsley in the '98 season when we sit now in the West Lower. And he was in front of us, running towards the goal, and he shot, and it really just swerved right out and inside the post. Only Bergkamp can do this.
Fantastic!
I've thought about this, and I'm going to pick a player who wasn't really a star in his time at Highbury, but he did it for me, and that was Gilles Grimandi. Because he just fought and fought and fought. He never gave up, and he wasn't the most naturally talented player at the club. But I do remember one match when we won the double in '97-98, and almost all the players were out, and I think he was one of the few senior players available, and he scored, and we won 1-0. And that goal was as important as any goal at the end of the day in winning the league. So, Gilles, if you're watching, respect.
Gilles was one of the 80 players from the last half-century who paid their own personal respects to Highbury at the closing ceremony. The parade of so many Arsenal legends and the messages written on the walls of the marble halls showed how much the old ground meant to the players.
I owe Highbury so much. I mean, I've been lucky because I not only had a football career here for 12 years as a goalie, I was a goalkeeping coach for 28 years. I say, you know, without Arsenal, without Highbury, there would be no Bob Wilson.
Oh, good work by Wilson!
I've always said that when I walked out here, I felt it was like a cathedral. And for me, it was a bit spiritual, to be honest with you. And I still look on this place as being far more than a football ground.
It's a warm place. You know, I know the tea lady here. She still knows I have 4 sugars in a mug of tea, and you know, little things like that. And you know, all the people that work behind the scenes, they was here when I first signed in 1980, which is 26 years ago. And I think that's what makes this club special.
Well, Highbury is the typical English stadium. It smells of tradition. You look at it, it's history. Just being in there, you know you're part of something. When I first joined, I remember having the press conference, walking up the stairs, seeing the boardroom, seeing the trophy room, looking out in the stand towards the pitch. It stands for English football. That's why I came to England for, and that's what I found.
I grew up there, and it was a very special place for me. In my day, as it was for the players before me, Highbury wasn't only where we played our games on a Saturday. Highbury was where we trained. Highbury was where we lived, really.
The Arsenal don't believe in stunts. For them, it's steady groundwork, tuning muscles up to the highest pitch. And now the boys are having a bit of practice on the field.
So Highbury was a place where skills and technique were fine-tuned. Arsenal's stars of the 30s became so good with their heads, they even put on a ball juggling display at the London Palladium on one occasion. Attention was also paid to the physical side, and Highbury boasted a range of state-of-the-art facilities to help fitness and physique. But it was the luxurious dressing room with its heated floors that was the envy of every other club.
The dressing room, I think, is very, very special for me because, you know, it was built in 1938 and it must have been like a palace. And when you walk in there, you can smell the tradition in this dressing room.
We always have the windows open because of the famous underfloor heating here, and we would see all the fans walking up and down. It was original, it was unbelievable. The atmosphere, how it was all around you when the players were getting ready to go out on the pitch.
It happened a few times that the supporters were not happy, so they shouted at the players from outside here. So you get straight away the response of your performance, But most of the time it's encouragement. You hear people chanting before the game, "Come on Arsenal," and motivating the team and the players. I feel it's a good test, there's a selection. When the pressure can mean inhibition, and then you walk out there, you're paralyzed. And you see straight away the player who has that syndrome cannot play for Arsenal Football Club because the pressure is so big.
The favourite place for me has to be where we are here now, because the moment you came here, you have the moment of truth. For any player, some can handle it, some can't handle it. I used to be really nervous till I got to this point here, daylight. All through there, I was as nervous as any goalkeeper you'd ever know. But the moment I hit daylight, it was like throwing a switch. This is what you've chosen to do, now go out and prove it again.
We had a good feeling when we were running on the pitch. We were almost unbeatable here, and we knew that. Almost untouchable.
It was a marvellous club to play for, and playing at Highbury, to score goals at Highbury was just something special.
Smith with a shot, a fantastic goal!
Most difficult stadium to play, especially for a goalkeeper, because the stands have different heights. The corners are different, so the wind which is coming in is blowing differently. Sometimes the sun disappears, then it comes back because of the different height of the stands. It's very difficult to play, but it creates a special atmosphere.
I really enjoy the atmosphere, It has been 2-3 years in an amazing feeling inside of me when I was there, and I hope it will continue like that, but 500 meters away.
In amongst the streets and houses of London N5 is where you'll find Highbury. It's been here since 1913, when the club moved from south of the River Thames to take up residency among the Islington community.
I just live around the corner, and you really get the feeling that Highbury and Arsenal is such a massive part of this area. People talk about community clubs and things that you do for the community. It permeates everyday life. The fact that you're not in some out-of-town a spot by a motorway where there's nothing there but the football stadium, and people are sort of interacting with their everyday lives, and this buzz of the big match just makes it absolutely spectacularly special.
When I arrived here for the first time, I felt that first we are surprised, because I said to the cab driver, "Are you sure that you know where you go?" He says, "Yes, we arrive in a minute." I said, "It cannot be true in a minute. I don't see any stadium,
A lot of people who come not just from England but from abroad, and one of the things they can't believe is just walking down the street of normal looking houses, and then suddenly this very beautiful and elegant Art Deco with the cream and the red, it's just so striking, and it gives you the sense of history as well, because it's obviously goes back to the beginnings of Highbury and football being played in this part of North London.
So, how did the Gunners end up at Highbury, particularly as they began life in South London as Dial Square back in 1886? Plumstead Common was the first home of the team of armaments workers who swiftly renamed themselves Royal Arsenal, then Woolwich Arsenal when they entered the Football League in 1893. By now they'd moved to the Manor Ground, where they led an inauspicious life spent among the lower reaches of the